video is the first in a series of videos of interest to the owner-operator or any company drivers or anyone interested in becoming an owner-operator. This first video of the series will help you decide on whether or not becoming an owner-operator is the right thing for you personally. So how will you know if becoming an owner-operator is the right thing for you to do? Really, of course, there is no magic answer whether or not it's the right thing for you. However, there's a number of questions that you can ask yourself to decrease the odds of problems and issues and also increase your chances of success as a business trucking owner-operator. I have two things right off the get-go that I would like to pass on as tips, whether it being in the trucking owner-operator business or any business for that matter. Number one is make yourself familiar, get familiar with the business, with the industry, what's going on, the ups, the downs, the ins, the outs. Know everything you can about it and never stop learning about it. That is invaluable information. Know what's going on in the industry. And for owner-operators, a smart thing to do would be a company driver for a number of years before jumping in to be an owner-operator. That's always a smart move that I would recommend for any trucker. Number two is always pay attention to your business regularly. Don't ever brush it aside. Always pay attention to what's going on. Take a look at your numbers regularly. Keep an eye on your books, keep an eye on your profit margin. It's very important, it's your livelihood, so you must pay attention to your business. There are so many things to consider when you're thinking about getting into the trucking business, particularly as an owner-operator. It's something that you should go into with your eyes wide open, not go in with maybe half the information because you might find yourself fairly surprised and shocked. Don't be mesmerized by the romance of owning your own truck and that everything's wonderful and hunky-dory, because that's not the case. You've got to know what you're getting into and if you're prepared for the challenges of being an owner-operator. Just because you're a good driver, a good skilled truck driver, does not necessarily make you a good owner-operator. Being an owner-operator is like being a company driver, a truck driver, with all of the extra business responsibilities, liabilities, responsibilities also that come along with owning your own business. So it's not just a matter of buying your truck and away you go and you're going to make a ton of money. There's an awful lot of things to consider. If you're burned out now as a company driver or overwhelmed by the job as a company driver, being an owner-operator won't cure all of your problems. In fact, it could make things a whole lot worse. You'll have more financial responsibility, more job responsibility, and there's more stress involved as well. So there are lots of rewards to be had as an owner-operator, but again, you need to be prepared for the whole thing to know what you're getting into. So now we'll get into some of the questions that you should ask yourself in order that you can make a decision whether or not becoming an owner-operator is a good thing for you. Now this is considering that you've been a company driver and you're accustomed to the challenges of life on the road as a trucker. Okay, as I have already mentioned, a good driver does not necessarily make a successful owner-operator. It's more complicated being an owner-operator. You need to have some business sense, or if you don't have the business sense, you need to be prepared to shell out the money to hire some professionals such as legal, accounting, banking, and so on that can help you make good decisions. Another one, being an owner-operator involves extra work, stress, responsibility, and money, more so than being a company driver. After you've put in your 70 plus hours every week, are you prepared to put in even more hours working on the business end of your business and balance that with your family life, your own personal recreation time, and everything else? It's just not as simple as putting in your week, closing the truck at the end of the week, closing the door, and taking the weekend off. You'll find yourself having to do maintenance, bookkeeping, and various other things and responsibilities as part of the job. So you need to be prepared to give the job the attention that's required. Do you have cash in hand? Do you have some cash in the bank? Do you have a notable amount of cash in the bank? And are you prepared to lose this money? We would anticipate that the outcome would be favorable with your investment, your down payment, and the money that you're putting into your truck and into your business. But should things go sour and things go bad, situations beyond your control, are you prepared to lose this money? Do you have a plan? Do you have a business plan? What are your goals as an owner-operator? Short and long-term goals. Doesn't have to be a very complex, complicated plan, but you need to have some sort of an idea of where you're going with the whole thing. Are you planning on being in as an owner-operator for maybe 5 years, only owning one truck and working hard and then getting out of it, going back to being a company driver or some other sort of job? Or is this a lifetime career move? There's lots of things to think about here. So you should have financial goals and what actually laying out your plan so you know where you're headed. Do you have any mechanical abilities? That is quite an asset as a company driver and especially as an owner-operator, because of course it will save you some money. Another important issue to consider is, are you able to finance or purchase the truck on your own? Is your credit strong enough to support financing with only your signature? Or do you need the signature of a spouse? This is something to think long and hard about, whether or not you want both husband and wife to sign to borrow to finance your truck. Not always a good idea if you can avoid it. The banks and the finance companies, of course, love it because then they have more security. But do you want to put everything on the line just to purchase this business asset? Have you adapted to life on the road? Is your health good? If you have some pretty serious health problems, you may want to reconsider before getting in and borrowing a large sum of money to finance a truck. So that's something else that you ought to give a little bit of thought to. Are you clear on your financial obligations and your business costs? We have another video available in our series, I will put a link to at the end of the video, that will outline what the various operating costs are and how to calculate your costs per mile as an owner-operator. These are things that you should be familiar with and have a good, solid understanding. Will your projected profit satisfy you? Once you've chosen a carrier and looked at what your bottom line will be, how much money you'll have left over at the end of the month, and what your profit should be, is this enough to satisfy your own financial obligations? Is it enough? Is it not quite enough? Make sure you know what your own personal financial obligations are, as well as your business obligations. These are some of the main issues you ought to take a look at before deciding to become an owner-operator. Ultimately, it takes determination, planning, research, and work to become a good owner-operator. You are responsible for the success in your business. These are just guidelines to help you make that all-important decision. The rest is up to you. For more information and more detail, do check out our website at smart-trucking.com, and also check out the description section of the video for more links and more detail.